Hey everyone, how you going? Corey from CAD with Corey here. Now, all these things here that we're looking at on the screen can all be done with the Coil command. So let's have a little rundown of what I've just drawn up here as some samples of what you could do. So we have a pretty standard coil spring there, when you picture a coil spring, that's the first thing that comes to mind. We have we'll get rid of that one. We have what looks like to be an auger. You'd find something similar to this in a combine harvester, for example. You could. And then last one, we have a little, like an impeller for a water jet pump unit. So you want to see how we draw these? Stick around and let's get drawing. So first thing we need is we'll center ourselves up with the cube over on the right, hit the little house button, and it brings us back to the correct orientation. We'll start over in the create menu over here, and we will select coil. Now it's going to ask me for a face or a plane to select the coil on, and we'll just go the bottom plane. I'll start in the center of the origin, and we'll do a 25mm diameter coil. Now, what we've got here is part of a coil. Now the coil command will remember the last coil that you drew previously. So I drew this one previously. So that's why it's just bringing me back here. So let's go over to the little box on the right and let's see what some of these things do here. So the 25mm diameter is basically the inside diameter of the coil. Revolutions, we haven't got any actual revolutions happening yet. So let's just go in here and we'll click a number. We will go 5. Now don't worry that it's disappeared. That's just because of the height. So we cannot fit 5 revolutions into that height. So we'll change that height to 50mm. And we're back. See, look at that. We've got a coil. Now we won't worry about the angle just yet. That's for another time. Now the section is the actual section of the coil. Now I've got square selected here. So if I change that to circular, you'll see we have just a standard coil. Now you can change the section size, like the diameter, with this box over here. So we'll change that to say 3mm. And then if we want to add another few revolutions, we can add another few revolutions by changing that. And if we want to stretch the height or shrink the height, you can change the height. We'll go say 80. And there you have a pretty basic coil spring. Now you can change the diameter there. Now see how I've got 25mm, and that's to the inside of the coil. So if you come over here to the section position and you want to go on center, so now we've got 25mm to the center line of the coil. Or if you want to go outside, the coil is again on the outside of your selected diameter. Or if you go inside, the coil is on the inside of the selected diameter. Depending on what you're modeling is depending on what you do. And that's a pretty basic coil right there. So we'll just hit OK. And that gives us a coil. standard coil spring. All right, now let's look at making something like this here with the coil command. All right, so we'll start again. We'll go square ourselves up with the little cube. There we go. Over to the create window, drop down to the coil option, hit coil, select a plane. I usually always go the bottom plane. We'll select a diameter. We'll go 25 again because it's a round number. It's just 25's easy to remember. We'll do that. Now see how that's where we basically left off last time? So we're going to change this a little bit here. We're going to drop the revolutions down to 0.3. We're going to drop the height down to 25. Whoop, not 2,500, 25, like that. We're going to change it from a circular coil section to a square section, like that. And then we're going to change the section width, which is basically how big we are here. We'll change that down to 3 millimeters. Okay. Now, if I was doing, for example, a impeller for a water jet pump for, say, a model boat or something, I'd probably change the height a bit lower, maybe 20, maybe 18, maybe 15. Just all depends on what you want to do and how much pitch you want in it. So we'll hit OK. We've got the start of our impeller. There is other ways to do impellers and propellers on Fusion. This is just one way, and I find it quite simple and effective. So now come over to the letter Q, hit the letter Q, and select this face here. Now you want to bring that out about, we'll call it 25 mil. I seem to be using 25 a lot, don't I? It's a nice measurement. And we hit OK. So now we have what looks to be like a blade off an impeller. So we need a bit of a body now, like a centre bit. So we'll select a face there, that one. We're going to do a cylinder, so I've hit on the cylinder command. We're going to make the cylinder the same diameter as that, which was 20 on the center line, so we'll just call it 20. Done. And we'll extrude that up to about there. And we'll make sure we use the join command. Hit join. Like that. Now we need to add some blades to it. So come over to the create column, down to pattern, circular pattern. Make sure this is on bodies. Select the body. Select the axis that you want to rotate this body around. So that one there in this case. And you can see the generic default is 3 blades or 3 sections. So we can bump that up a bit. We'll just take it to a random number. 5 is a good number. Hit OK. Now you can choose any number of blades or size that you like. And there you have a standard, just a basic water impeller. Now if I was to want to cut these blades down a bit to give this edge here a bit of a sharp angle, what I could do is I could hit C for circle on this face, hit that face, bring that out so it's bigger than the impeller, like that. I hit E for extrude, so now we have a cutting tool, and I'll just try and square this up a bit so we can see what is going to happen here. Now if I bring this down, it'll hit the blades, it'll turn into a cutting tool, and you can cut it off at whichever measurement you want to. We'll just go there for now, and you can see that, how that takes those edges back flat. So that would help you cut into the water a bit better. Now you could add a radius as well. And as you can see, I'm just kind of winging this as I go. So we'll click that one. We'll add a radius of say 50. 50 is too big in this case. We'll go 30. 30 is too big even. 10. So normally if you do a radius or a chamfer or any sort of command and it comes up and it says it can't do it, it's usually because the command you're trying to execute is too large for the area that you're trying to execute it on. So we'll just leave that at 10, and you can see that gives a nice curved look there. And that's a pretty standard impeller. Now if you wanted to hit E for extrude and extrude this, say 20 mil with a, over on the taper angle here, we'll just call it, we'll go -5, and that, see how that brings it down to like a cone? So we might be able to change that -5 to maybe a -8 degrees. Like that, and then hit E for extrude again and come out say 100, and that gives you your propeller shaft. Now alternatively, we'll just hit the back arrow and we'll get rid of that shaft. You could put a thread in there. So we'll hit H for hole, we'll hit the face, come over to the thread command, and we basically leave these two, the top and bottom one where they are, and we move the hole tap type to here. We select a thread diameter. In this case, we're just going to go with the generic one. It's already there, selected as 12 mil. Now if I square myself up, and I click on the little center point of the hole, you'll see that white dot that appeared? That is the center of the propeller. So we'll just drag it and it will snap onto that. Hit OK. Hey everyone, sorry about that, little glitch in my editing there. So what you have here is the thread on the inside, and that would enable you to put a steel threaded shaft in there that you could run some bearings on to help this spin freely. So you could make this any size configuration you like with that little tutorial. Just a matter of messing around with all the measurements in the different boxes and see what you come up with. Excuse me. So the next one we're going to try and make is an auger like this sort of thing with a left and a right hand, excuse me, left and a right hand coil on it. So we start with going to the create box, down to coil. I'll just zero myself on the home button here. So I'm going to select this face this time. Now we'll do a 25mm coil, hit enter. So there we have the start of our auger. Now we're going to drop the revolutions down to 4, and we're going to extend the height out a little. This is just for looks, so you kind of get the idea about how it comes together. Now we're going to reduce the section size, so basically the width of the coil. We'll drop that down to 3. Yeah, something like that. That looks pretty good. Now we'll hit OK. So we'll come and we'll push the Q button. The letter Q is the press pull command. Select that face, and now we'll come out a measurement, say 10mm. Looks good. And again, we're just going random measurements because this isn't for any specific part. It's just to show you what can be done. So now we'll put like an axle or a shaft in the center of that, and I'll just use the cylinder tool. So hit cylinder on that face, go to there, and we made that 25mm. We'll do that, and we'll just extend that cylinder, click and drag so it comes out the other end. Hit join. So now we have one side of the auger, as you can see. And now I'm just going to move that slightly off center. So we'll hit M for move. Select a point, and we will hit the arrow, and we can either drag the arrow, click and drag, or type in a measurement in the box. So I'm going to go -10, and it moves at 10mm off center. And then we want to replicate this on the other side. So first thing I'll do is I'll just extrude this face a little, 10mm, because that's how far we moved it over. Again, there's so many numerous ways of doing this, but I'm just showing you a pretty basic rundown. Come over to the create window, go down to mirror, hit mirror, make sure this is on bodies, select the body, go over to mirror plane, select a mirror plane. If you can't see it, just zoom out a bit. We want that plane there, and it gives us a copy, like a mirror image. We hit join, and there you have a pretty basic double-sided auger that, as I said before, could be used in modelling for if you wanted to do like a little combine harvester type setup, or move sand from one side from the outside inwards, or the inside outwards. So many different things you could use this for. So that's what we've got. Hope that helped you guys out a little bit with just showing a few different commands that the coil can do. So what have we got? We got our coil, our auger, our purple impeller, just like that. All right, thank you. See you next time.